Welcome once again to another special edition of Wyoming Sports Talk today, as we are on YouTube and Periscope via Twitter. And our special edition of Wyoming Sports Talk today being brought to you by some very special people. Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, use their convenient drive-thrus, and you will find them on the South Greeley Highway, downtown KRAE Avenue, Del Range and Ridge, Persian and Ridge, and of course on Yellowstone Road. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way, 775-0123. Now, you can do your business at Key of Cheyenne, where they're sanitizing every hour, and they also have hand sanitizer. Or at Key of Cheyenne, you can have them deliver to you. Also, you can do your business online. Go to keyofcheyenne.com. And matter of fact, they'll even do your trade sight unseen by going online, Key of Cheyenne. Platte Valley Bank Types 2. Rick and the crew invite you again to do your banking. Of course, obviously, with the social distancing thing, you can use their convenient drive-thrus, both at the corner of College and Pershing, as well as the original location on Banda High. If you need to do some business inside, get a hold of them at 778-0021. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards. And they're open Monday through Saturday. So, again, see Ray and Cindy and the wonderful staff over at Chick-fil-A. Again, use the convenient Chick-fil-A app for their curbside. Again, they got 2 drive-thrus for you as well. And over at Chick-fil-A, got to give the bad news. No more ice cream cones, and I'm going to use the word pro tem for now until we get the restart. And then, again, too, they're going to be issuing the flat lids for the milkshakes. Yes, you can have milkshakes, but you can't have whipped cream and the ever-lovely cherry on top. So, again, that's just for now over at Chick-fil-A, Windmill, Del Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards. Medicap Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical needs. Again, Gene and the great staff invite you to come on in. Yes, you can practice the social distancing there and get your meds with your doctor's prescription, or you can use the convenient drive-thru. Medicap Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue in Cheyenne. Bruce and the crew invite you to come on into the main showroom, again, featuring GE, Maytag, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, and a host of other goodies for you. Or you can go next door to the service area if you need work on your refrigerator, like I've had here over the last week or so, and they'll take good care of you over at B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue, 638-6468. Lennox Auto Body over on Dunn Avenue and the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Persian Boulevard, both part of Lennox Enterprises, serving our community needs for over a quarter century, now being run by Heather Lennox. And Heather reminds everybody right now that they've kind of scaled back the hours Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. over at the 1020 Dunn Avenue location. But again, that is, they're still taking care of the repairs and the painting and all that goes with it. They're just, kind of cutting back on the office side. They're still doing estimates and all that. Just give them a call, 634-6608. Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center. First Tier Bank over at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, open Monday through Friday. Tim and the crew invite you to come on by because, again, you can do your banking inside. Just give them a call at 632-3500. Again, First Tier Bank offering many services. Matter of fact, I do believe if this new round of the PPP goes through, you'll be able to apply over at First Tier Bank for that SBA-type loan. And right across the street is Mondello's Pizzeria, where Joe and the crew are there Monday through Sunday. And again, Joe and his brother and his nephew, they're pretty much the mainstays over there. Again, Joe's Pizza ranked in the top 10 by the Food Network. And again, you can try the Sicilian pie. You can have just a good old couple slices like you see Travolta doing in Saturday Night Fever. You can do that kind of look. Or you can have a specialty pie made by Joe. Also, again, delicious sandwiches, hot and cold Italian subs, a Philly cheesesteak, stromboli, calzones, all kinds of good eats and treats, always at Mondello's Pizzeria, open 7 days a week. 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D, the Greenway Commons. Yes, you will see their convenient takeout window right there at Mondello's. And we want to thank Pepsi of Cheyenne. They are our sponsors of our scoreboard, but there's no scoreboard to report. However, the restart button's getting close, so who knows when we will start giving out some scores. In the studio, it's Oso, the Wonder Dog. How about that? Looks like Batman. A young Batman.
Just a dumb, at leleast observation. I don't.
The mask looks like a Batman mask.
Just looks like a dog.
It's also the Wonder Dog. All right. Well, we do want to remind everybody that we are live again on YouTube and on Periscope via Twitter. Our first guest will be the head coach of the LCCC Golden Eagles, DeWayne Saulsberry, when we come back in a bit.
If you're looking for fun and style, then the new 2019 Kia Optima has what you need. And here at Kia of Cheyenne, we can help you own one. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Optima will reward your daily drive with comfort, performance, and advanced engineering. Kia Optima technology, your phone allows access to remote lock or unlock, climate control, 24-hour roadside assistance, and much more. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
College has been something that's always been on the back of my mind.
This is where I found what I wanted, one of my passions, what I really love to do.
In class, I feel more engaged.
The people here do care about you, and they want to help you succeed in life.
They make it so easy to be a parent and be able to still go to school.
I like the way I'm improving.
I love being, part of the LCCC family, and I'm glad I made this step in my life.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk. Today we get the opportunity to bring on our first guest. He is the head coach at Laramie County Community College, the men's basketball team, DeWayne Saulsberry. Yeah, it's like we talked to him not too long ago, but to get a chance to chat with him again. More news breaking out of the LCCC men's basketball program. Coach, again, how's things coming along with recruiting for you right now?
It's moving. That's for sure. It's definitely a different way to recruit, but getting in a groove now. Signed 4 kids already, so we're starting to get moving here a little bit.
And that's why we kind of brought you on, Coach, as it's been kind of a flurry of information as, obviously here we are in this day and age, or at least time frame, still dealing with the pandemic across the nation. But, seeing that at least men's basketball over at LCCC has been very busy to fill some slots. Again, not losing a whole lot of sophomores, a part of that team, only 3 so far. Again, that being Mateo, also too, Kyle Cabbs, Courtney Dean. But you are looking to fill some slots, however, and with those slots, it went kind of throughout the entire nation, whether it was in Florida or here locally in town. We'll start here in town, though, with you, Coach, where kind of the big surprising signing that you happened to pick up coming out of Cheyenne East, that being a pair of twins, that being the McCord twins. Talk about at least the recruiting process and what they'll be able to bring to the table there for LCCC.
I've watched those 2 guys for a long time now. Just them being so close. They've been in our gym a few times, just shooting around, things of that nature. Being in town, been able to watch them for the last probably 3 years, I guess. So, they bring to the table is, athleticism. We didn't have that last year. Both of those guys are athletic, competitive. They should bring a lot of stability to our program, hopefully. So that's what we were hoping for, recruiting those guys, and talk to a lot of people about them. Obviously, Eric Oliver, who played with those guys for 4 years when he was at East. So we're glad to get these guys on board.
Coach, when we had this opportunity to chat back in late February, I know you had interest in I think it was Xavier McCord, and again, you got the package deal with Demetrius as well. And like you mentioned, athleticism with both of those student athletes. I would say, though, with Demetrius, he brings that fiery attitude, and I think that's something that LCCC definitely needs is that I guess maybe a freshman leader who will come on the floor right away and again has a little bit of that Ash Chedua type of fiery attitude about him, but again brings the athleticism with him.
Oh, definitely. You always like a fiery guy, somebody who comes in and can get your team fired up, get under the other team's skin a little bit. But yeah, he's definitely brings that to the table, and just being familiar with those guys for the last few years actually, helps settle the mind as far as who you're bringing in. Knowing that those guys are that you're able to find out a little bit. You're able to find out a little bit more about those guys when they're this close. So very, very happy to have them on board. They know, like I said, they know Eric, but they also know our other guys, the other sophomores who will be on the team as well. There's a lot of times I went to the games this year, and our guys were at those games, those East games, and so they know those guys. They're familiar with those guys as well too. So just that learning curve, I think, will be short for those guys because of just being familiar with the program and us being familiar with them.
Now, obviously, Eric is still with the program, even though he's probably gotten looks to move on to the next level throughout the nation, whether it is D2, D1, out there to go play men's basketball. But as of right now, it stands that Eric Oliver, and also, too, someone that you brought in late into that season that is still part of at least the squad, that being Onyx Jackson. So 2 Chinese products, a part of LCCC, moving up into that sophomore ranks. But how big of it is it to have that kind of ally for the McCord twins that, Eric has been through the system, so to speak. He knows what JUCO basketball entails, the long road trips, the grueling schedule that encompasses with LCCC basketball. How crucial is it for him to kind of take the McCord twins under his wing and kind of show them the ropes?
Oh, it's big. If Eric comes back and how depending on how his recruiting goes, if he comes back, he'll take the leadership role for the whole team, not just those guys. But I think it's really big. Those guys can call, they can talk to him. They can, especially at the beginning of the year when you think college basketball is one thing, and then they actually get here and you find out it's something totally different. Just with how sore their body's going to be. Like you said, just the marathon that is college basketball. You will, those guys, it's really great for them to have somebody to lean on to at least call them, say, hey, is this how it really is? And so I think, just Eric being a complete leader for everybody on our team, but definitely for those 2 guys, it'll help because they're already familiar with him.
I want to go back to, again, one of those local picks, and that's Xavier McCord. I had a chance to see him as a sophomore, and again, too, Eric Oliver at that time was pretty much the leader of the team, and he was getting, the bulk of the shots. But you could see that this gangly kid was going to grow into that body of his. And again, he brings some strength, but he also added pizzazz to his game as well. Coach, do you see him as a 5, or do you stick him out there as a 4 or 3? What are you looking at for McCord right away?
I think when you talk about college basketball, he's going to have to play on the perimeter a little bit for us, mostly for us, and then we can slide him into the post if there's situations, then definitely we can do that. But at his size, yes, he's got some athleticism and some things like that that we really, really love. But for him to be successful in college basketball, he's going to have to be on the wing.
Well, let's talk about again, in addition to our 2 signings from on the local side, you have had, believe it or not, with everything that seems to be shut down, you have been busy. So you've also added some more to the roster for the Golden Eagles as we get ready for the 2021 campaign. And tell us a little bit on the recruiting trail. What else? What other nuggets you've been able to pick up?
Well, we picked up two more guys. Mitch Dartley, he's from Boston. He was at a Division I school last year, Albany. He took a medical red shirt there. 6'7", 225, 230. So, a bigger guy for us will, I think he'll fit into Region 9 really nice, be really, really hard to guard, shoots the basketball, just, has a lot of maturity. So I think he's going to bring a lot of what we missed from last year's team. It's just having a really, really smart guy out there can play in that mid post area for us. The other guy is Alec Eugene from Florida. And when you talk about athleticism, I think a lot of people are going to be excited to watch. He's an exciting player. Plays above the rim. Um, kind of reminds you of a kid we had a few years back. It's why I really loved him, Ola Adeli. If you can remember Ola. And that's kind of who he reminds me of. Just really, really long, big shoulders. Uh, should play well for us.
Coach, with these newest recruits, obviously the McCord twins a lot easier to kind of get out to the gym once LCCC opens back up, or at least here the entire state of Wyoming open backs up. Again, hopefully here very soon. But for, as you mentioned, you got a Florida prospect, you got a Massachusetts prospect, where right now, again, interesting to see how the rest of the nation opens up, or how slowly or how long it will take to get those recruits out of those states. But has the NJCAA kind of established rules or set out timelines of when those new recruits can come on out to Cheyenne, to over to LCCC, to get some action, get some at least practice with the team, get some notoriety with some of those sophomores? What's kind of the process right now for those recruits to get on out here?
I think the NJCAA they have not given us any sort of timeline or anything like that I'm aware of. I think they're just kind of waiting, just like everybody else, and just kind of follow the states as far as when they decide to open up. So I think that's what the NJCAA will do, is just kind of wait and see, just like everybody else. When it starts to open up, they'll allow coaches and things like that to get back out. I'm sure when it's safe.
Coach, what about schooling? Obviously, a lot of the schooling now is done online. And again, with your new recruits, obviously they're going to need to keep up. How do you keep up with how they're doing via the classroom? Because again, we saw a couple, 3 times this year where a couple players were not able to play due to ineligibility. So eligibility is going to be very key, especially when you can't see how they're doing.
You just have to stay in contact, and actually, you can see with technology now, you can get online with those guys, and they can walk you through exactly where they are online. Laramie County, I'm sure a lot of schools, we've done a really good job of being able to check on what these guys, where these guys are at. So, you just got to stay on top of it. You can't assume that they have it. You got to make sure that they do.
Well, Coach, again, we appreciate you joining us here. Any other things that you wanted to add? Is your roster basically full, or are you looking at maybe 1 or 2 more prospects?
We're probably looking at about 3 or 4 more. So the roster's not full yet. We're probably looking at 3, maybe 4 more. We did hire an assistant coach, so that's exciting for us. Roy Bell Baez. He was spent the last 4 or 5 years at Western Nebraska, so we're excited about that. Him coming over.
Let's keep it right there with him coming over. What does he bring to the table? Not just as an assistant coach, but again, he's been on the other side. He's been on the South, where we've been competing in the North over the last couple of years. Yeah, we do see the Cougars each and every year, but what does that type of coaching bring to the LCCC bench and you?
Just some excitement. He's a little bit younger, so just some excitement. Some energy. He's obviously been on winning programs. He's made a trip to the national tournament a few years back. So that's always nice, just to have someone on your bench who's used to winning. And then as far as recruiting goes, he brings a different brings a different area than where I'm from. When you talk about Eugene, that's one of his recruits. So. He looks at things a little bit different than I do as far as recruiting, and that's a good thing. You're getting it from both sides, and I've known him now for 4 or 5 years. So when the job came up, he was excited, reached out, and I was excited. We're excited to have him on board.
Coach, you had mentioned the last time that we had you on that the philosophy was going to be a little different from when you and Jason worked together. Now with you running the program, you said that defense was going to be a little more at the forefront for your squad. And again, looking at the recruits that you've picked up right now, it looks like you are going after that muscle type of kid, but you have a couple of them that are they're like the total package for you. So you'll be able to put points, the biscuit in the basket, but it looks like you're really going after that defensive look.
We want to be long, and that's what we're going after. We want to be long. We want to make it difficult for teams to shoot over us. We want to rebound the basketball, and to do that stuff, you got to have some length. So that's what we're going after, especially with the twins, with Eugene, and then Mitch. Mitch is a big kid. Mitch is a big kid also. So yes. True to word, we're going after strong, long, tough guys.
Coach, you're looking at the upcoming schedule for 2020, 2021, where obviously, again, a lot of things up in the air, but hopefully, again, by basketball time there, again, October into November here in town with LCCC basketball, where has a schedule, at least so far as you're building it right now, getting all set? Have you kind of looked more towards just keeping it here within the state of Wyoming? Obviously, you have to with Region 9 North play, looking down to Region 9 South. Or have you looked into kind of just building up to going out to the Utahs of the world or expanding out? Basically, the brunt of my question for you, Coach, is, again, with the COVID-19 situation where, again, we're not – the uncertainty is still there. And, again, talk with a few other coaches where they're looking at kind of keeping a lot of games kind of in the locale, not traveling great distances. Is that kind of what you're looking at right now for the upcoming schedule?
Definitely. You just don't know. You have no idea how this is going to end and what's going to happen. So keeping it close, being able to drive to places – is definitely on our mind as we're finalizing the schedule here. So there was a lot of we're in the middle of Region 9, so it's very, very easy for us to get to Colorado, to get to Nebraska, places like that, so we can find good competitive games. So we definitely keep that stuff in mind when we're making this schedule, and trying to make things as easy as possible with this virus.
We were talking about Eric, and again, we're hoping that he gives LCCC another look-see. I think it would be a very beneficial sophomore season for him to stick around. I know you'd be very happy as well, Coach. Guys that are going to be returning as well. We haven't mentioned, we're going to have a good mixture of freshmen and sophomores. Who else will be coming back that you know of thus far?
Well, I know of so far. I mean, definitely, hopefully Eric sticks around, but then you will have, a guy that played a lot of basketball for us in Ash. Ash will be around. Caleb, those guys for sure will be around. We're working to make sure that we can get Jared Boyce to sit out all last year. He's coming back, and that's about it. And then Yusuf actually will be back. So 4 or 5 guys there that played a lot of basketball, which is really important for me. I didn't want to lose the minutes that those guys have played. Those are very valuable, and just going through making it easier for the freshmen that we bring in.
Would Jared Boyce
have those sophomores?
I'm sorry, Coach. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Would Jared Boyce come in as a freshman since he did not play last year?
It depends. Right now, I mean, he would probably come in academically as a sophomore, but athletically as a freshman.
So I have that chance for at least 2 years, possibly with Jared, to kind of work with him to get on at least basketball court with LCCC. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to this upcoming team here in 2020, 2021 to see what they're made of. Again, where now LCCC has a little bit more local flair, especially out of Cheyenne East now with the McCord twins, hopefully Eric Oliver, and also too, again, maybe possibly Onyx Jackson come back. But again, at least good to see that LCCC building some kind of local flair to kind of build up this team so folks can head on out to the rack and support LCCC men's basketball next season.
Definitely. I think it's going to be exciting, and we're just hoping that everybody stays safe and with this virus, and we can move forward.
What are you giving to the guys as far as, I guess, off-season training? Just to, a lot of guys just can't go to a health club and go work out. They might have some weights at home, and they might even have a backyard basketball court or front yard. But what tips are you trying to give these guys while they're not on campus?
It's really hard. It's really hard. It's hard for everybody. Right now, there's a lot of our guys, they've downloaded apps that they can use that has exercises in them that, that doesn't involve, a lot of weights, a lot of body lifting, a lot of, setups, push-ups, lunges, things of that nature. So, just trying to give these guys as much as possible. So a lot of these guys have called and asked for workouts and stuff. So, you just go online and try to figure out, try to find as much as you can. So everybody's kind of in the same boat, and the guys that have basketballs in their yards, a couple of guys do. Those guys are the lucky ones. They can actually go out and get some shots up. The other guys, they just got to stay in shape as best they can.
Well, Coach, again, we appreciate you dropping on by and chatting with us. And, again, hopefully we'll see you on the court here pretty soon.
Yes, thanks for having me anytime.
Coach DeWayne Saulsberry, head coach at Laramie County Community College, the Golden Eagles' new bench boss as he takes over for Jason Ficca. Again, DeWayne has been part of this program. This will be his 14th year with the program. This will be his first year as the head coach, so looking forward to exciting times, I guess, Nick, is right now DeWayne trying to get a lot of pieces put in place right now, and not like last year where they got caught at the last minute with 2 departures right around August. So right now, Coach Saulsberry getting everything put into place, and it sounds like getting those right pieces, and hopefully they'll mesh together when it comes down to crunch time.
We can only hope so at this point in time. Again, everything's kind of up in the air right now. Again, we do know that he does have 4 official signees to LCCC basketball. Again, as we mentioned, the big ones coming out of, at least here in the Cap City, with the McCord twins, where, again, they were highly recruited, or at least had it touted here in the state of Wyoming. So looking forward to seeing what they can do on the court for LCCC. And if they're able to be paired with Eric Oliver, again, you're talking about a good, solid 3-core there that was doing damage throughout the entire state of Wyoming there with Cheyenne East. So interested to see how that would gel out in collegiate basketball here in the JUCO ranks in Region 9 through North and South. But again, obviously everything's kind of still up in the air. It's a question of when are they able to come out? When are we going to be open? What also too are going to be the regulations as well too for if the state of Wyoming opens up and Cheyenne does, LCCC does. Can those recruits from Florida, Massachusetts, those from around the country? Because again, I would assume a lot of those folks, or at least a lot of the Yusefs of the world, or again Jared Boyce, hey, they're not from Cheyenne. They probably during the summertime went back home. Are they able to come back out to Cheyenne as soon as possible?
In the case of Jared Boyce, we did not see him last year. We got to see him more in a casual type of setting as he was, basically getting his act together. And again, this is a natural ability kid. So you pair him on the court, let's just say, with an Eric Oliver, and again, some of the pieces that are coming back. And again, looking at what he has been able to pick up on the recruiting trail, this looks like a pretty exciting team on paper as we speak.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, it is kind of on paper. We'll see what happens of how this team gels together, what it at least – basically also, too, is how in shape does this team come into camp?
So everybody's going to be –
without a doubt.
It's like starting the season 0-0. So everybody's going to be at that Mendoza line right away, and who's going to develop faster? Well, again, the natural ability athletes that we're hearing. Again, we know that the McCords are both, again, exquisite athletes. We already know the Eric Olivers of the world, what he can do. We saw Boyce in a casual situation. We already know what Yusef Washington can bring to the table. We know what Ash Chedua can bring to the table. We saw a lot of Caleb Davis. So we know these guys are basketball ready. The other recruits that are going to be coming in, they look, from what I've seen, they look like they're ready to hit the court up and running. And again, especially in JUCO, you move them up and down the floor. It's nonstop action. So again, once we get the restart button and Coach Saulsberry has that opportunity to start gathering the troops here, and again, how much he gets done during the summer, probably with most of the local guys, and that would include like Youssef coming up from Denver to practice with the team. I would hope that will be here within, I would say, within a month. I think we're getting pretty doggone close to this.
There's no guarantee right now, but again, only time will tell at this point. But again, for LCCC, it is an exciting time. It's new territory as you've been under the Jason Ficca kind of. Don't want to use the word regime, but that's the only one I'm going to come up with right now.
We're tenure was a long time.
Yeah, without a doubt. So again,
it's
a new era. It's a new face over there at Laramie County Community College with the Golden Eagles, at least program on the court. So interested to see what happens with interim head coach DeWayne Saulsberry, where again he's interim head coach for a year guaranteed, and then they will open up to a nationwide search. Now again, that does not mean that again. DeWayne is not an option to continue as the permanent head coach, but again, as of right now, he is not an official head coach. Again, he's just the interim until they open up that nationwide search until after the end of next season, which again is kind of the
it's
the MO of LCCC.
It's a screwy thing that LCCC has done here in the last couple of hirings. You have an interim athletic director and you have an interim head coach. Kind of screwball. I mean, let's get.
Well, and also too, again, where you're trying to find stability right now in athletics over there, where now you have another interim position, where again it's surprising, or not so much surprising, but also too, as you mentioned, hey, he found an assistant coach. Well, how do you kind of talk to that assistant coach, saying, hey, I'm not officially here. And if I don't get the official, at least head coaching position by a committee over there at LCCC, you may not be retained. That's kind of a tough sell right now over there for a head coach, even for players right now where, hey, I can't guarantee Xavier Demetrius Record, player from Florida, player from Massachusetts right now. I can't guarantee you that I will be there for your sophomore season per se.
Well, and again, too, you're basically telling Coach Saulsberry, you got to prove yourself. Well, I think he has. Working with Jason Ficca, they put up 210 wins during their time together. Okay, we saw already what DeWayne had to do a couple times this past season when Coach Ficca had to take off due to the family issue that he had. And DeWayne showed his prowess on the bench. He knows the game of basketball. Been there, did it, done it. Again, I'm kind of insulted for him that they had to give him that interim title. I don't know what are they expecting on him. If he gets 20 wins, he's going to be hired on. If he gets 10 wins, you're going to let him go. I mean, come on. Again, everything's got to be interim. How do you get any stability? Like you said, the key word is you need stability in that athletic department.
Yeah.
That goes with the athletic director. That goes with your coaches that you hire too. You didn't hire the new women's soccer coach on an interim basis.
Yeah.
You did not hire the women's volleyball coach on an interim basis.
And again, even with what is happening right now in the world where doesn't say you can't virtually hire someone or at least figure how to do all that. But again, you had time to put in place a head coach where during the time, hey, DeWayne could still build up or at least or kind of help with that program as is. But again, you had time. Again, the announcement with Coach Ficca being at least removed from his position there at LCCC happened, about a month ago, where, basketball doesn't start, or at least officially, until, around September-ish, where you start looking into, training camp.
It happens as soon as they step on campus.
Yeah, August as well. Yeah, without a doubt. But the point is, though, August is, as of right now, here in April, still 4 months away. It doesn't take 4 months to do a nationwide search for a head coach position. Look what UW did. Mm-hmm. How quickly that was to transition from Allen Edwards to get Jeff Lind.
I think in the case of University of Wyoming, my opinion, we already knew the writing was on the wall for Coach Edwards. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, you can't tell me that they didn't have a short list right away after the announcement of Coach Edwards being dismissed.
Yeah.
Or the parting of the ways. Okay? They had a short list together.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Coach Linder was at that top of that
but
list
again,
out of the
with
box.
technology, even as is, even before we moved into now stay at home and Zoom meetings and all this stuff right now of where we are, stay at home in place throughout the entire nation, there were still ways, though, that folks could get online, get notification that, hey, there's a new head coach position at LCCC open and available to find a permanent spot. And yet you decided to go, hey, let's just do interim and then decide next year. Where, again, it puts a little pressure on DeWayne, unfortunately.
Well, and again, I disagree. I disagree with that terminology for the coach. He's the head coach of the basketball team. If you're going to give him a 1-year deal, and again, mostly, correct me if I'm wrong, on the JUCO level, they're 1-year deals anyway.
Maybe.
I don't think anybody signs up for a 5-year contract.
I'm not going to guarantee anything like that. You don't know whether a CSI of the world, Snow College in Utah.
I'm talking the LCCC. I'm talking that most of these coaches are on 1-year deals, and they get renewed after the season is over. I'm assuming. Again, I don't want to jump out on that far out limb here, but I think these guys are all on 1-year deals. And in the case of Coach Saulsberry, he's been there for 13 of those seasons already as an assistant coach.
Yeah.
And again, a paid position as an assistant coach. Now he's the head coach, but you're only going to give him an interim position. So again, what is the classification for him to be named full-time head coach? Does he got to win 20 games, or if he wins 10 games, we're going to start having that nationwide search, and he'll be in the discussion, but we're not really all that interested.
Obviously, that information would have to go through interim athletic director Cindy Henney.
Again, the word interim, LCCC, come on, pull your heads out, get some stability, and make the athletic department a strong suit at LCCC. It's almost like LCCC, whether it's the board of trustees, whether it's the president of LCCC, whether they still think of athletics so little, because again, really, athletics is kind of like, we offer it here, but that's not really our focus. Think about it.
Which it absolutely feels like over there.
Really,
where again,
like
athletics is on
its redheaded stepchild.
It's on its own island out there on that campus, without a doubt. So, again, if this campus wants to embrace what the talent is, what these teams do, especially for these student athletes, and again, also too, what they do for the community. Look what they already do. Again, look what the basketball teams were doing under at least Jay Safica, under Brian Ortmeyer, where, again, they were doing food drives, shoe drives. They were out and about in the community, getting those athletes out in front and center to meet folks here in this town, but also to doing community service. Same with the soccer team, same with volleyball. But, again, that board of trustees, that institution over there treats it still as the bastard child, without a doubt.
And you know what? Here's your next concern. When we get the restart, we got to worry about local first. We got to worry about the local businesses, and then you're going to have people coming in to these local businesses saying, "Hey, hey, can you help out? Hey, can you sponsor?" Well, again, you're going to sit there and look at, hey, you got a basketball coach, but he's interim. What does that mean? Are you going to get rid of him halfway through the season? Because interim means for now.
Yeah.
So what's to say that Nick Broetti doesn't get announced in December?
Again, we already know. We've already gotten that. We already got that news from Dr. Henning that, again, DeWayne is in place for the full year. He is not being removed at any point in time.
I got you, Nick. But again, it just shows the instability of that department, just simply for the fact the institution has made it an unstable. I don't want to use the word unstable. Has made it a secondary item,
especially where you had, let's look at the facts with, obviously women's soccer very successful. Hopefully it will continue that with under new head coach Nate Olness. Again, multiple national tournament appearances. Unfortunately, no national championships, but again, still got that national.
Got the dance.
what happened this year with men's soccer, where they made it to the Final Four, made it to the national tournament, won the district championship. So, again, they moved on under head coach Vince Gibson. Volleyball in the past couple seasons under at least former head coach Austin Almers, getting them to the national tournament. Hopefully, same will be said with, again, the situation with volleyball to get back to that kind of notoriety out there. But, basketball, again, overall, these past 2 seasons were kind of an anomaly for head coach Jason Fickett. But other than that, though, it's a team that's been above the Mendoza line, had a chance to move on to the national tournament. They were 1 game short, at least the Region 9 championship game short of making it to the national tournament. But again, they're able to move on those student athletes to bigger and better, at least, ways, which, again, as a JUCO, that's what you're supposed to do. Brian Ortmeyer with women's basketball has been able to.
Kerry Coates on the volleyball side.
Yeah,
and
Kerry
then, of course,
Coates, yeah.
Let's talk about the rodeo program. Been a very successful program. And again, too, what do you think of Cheyenne? You think of Frontier Days and you think of rodeo. So, again, is LCCC more rodeo, athleticism, or is it, the full Monty? I mean, come on, let's be real. Again,
you gotta give them all of, just like colleges of the world. Sheridan seems to do it. Casper seems to put all teams on the map. Again, Casper College, those games up there, whether it is volleyball, basketball, seem like the hot ticket item in Casper. Same with Gillette in that Pronghorn Center. That's huge. That's big time for
these. And you saw the sponsorships too. And again, with the sponsorships that you have, and this one where you mentioned with Gillette and Casper, I think they get hurt a little bit more this year because of the oil and minerals this year. Mm-hmm. And again, I mean, as we're looking at oil today, it was down like to $3 a barrel. But again, you look at that, I think those industries are going to be very hard hit. And I think those 2 institutions next year are going to find it's going to be a little tough. Again, I don't know how much.
I think everyone's going to figure that out. I don't from here to Northwest College to Eastern Wyoming, all the way on down to
you're right.
Lamar, Otero in the south of Colorado. I think athletics in general.
But here in this state where we really depend on the oil and mineral industries, again, what really funds a lot of our JUCOs.
You don't think in or at least for Northwestern and Sterling, they don't rely a little bit on some of that industry, or at least some industries that are probably dying too?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, everybody's got their,
I don't think it's just in this state. It's going to be across the nation where
I think we get hit harder. I really do, because again of the coal, oil, natural gas. Again, we're really. The prices right now, Nick, are absolutely ungodly. Just if you
it's still nearly $2 at least a gallon here in this city.
In Wisconsin today, I saw it was down to as 89 cents a gallon. 89 cents.
Yeah, we're still nearly paying $2 here.
Because we're still sitting on December gas. That's why. All right, we do need to take a timeout. We're going to come back for a little bit of a chat. I do believe it's Cody Roark that's going to be joining us at 4 o'clock. He is on the podcast Locked on Broncos, right, if I'm not mistaken. And he will be joining us here. We'll get a chance to preview the upcoming draft. Broncos, they had a dry run of it, too, yesterday. They had the virtual draft. So, again.
Well, I mean, they had a dry run, but it's still going to be virtual.
Yeah, it's going to be a virtual draft, but they had a dry run yesterday. So, we'll find out all the good, the bad, the ugly of that, and we'll find out.
We'll see how John Elway screws things up again.
Well, and you know what? A lot of people are looking at the 49ers pick right now. 49ers might be looking to.
Well, they have 2 first rounds, but no second round. So
or
again,
third.
Yeah.
They don't pick. I think they get the 31st pick.
After 13th, 31st.
13th, 31st, and then they go to the 156th. So they might be looking at some second and
But
third
also,
round
too, this is a team, 49ers, that are pretty much set, though people are anticipating if the NFL is back in action, they should be back in the Super Bowl.
Do you realize that here's the interesting story of the day. I didn't realize that, but John Lynch finally came out and said they were actually pursuing Tom Brady. Can you believe that?
Unless you're trying to develop Jimmy G again, or at least kind of bring that mentor back for him. But it's not a bad move, though, where, again.
And the 49ers have the money.
Well,
let's be real. The Yorks have a pile of cash, and for some reason, it just broke today that the Niners were really actively going after Tom Brady. And again, Tom Brady from California originally.
The 49ers have been active, whether it was Peyton Manning, again, how many of those rumors came out.
Yeah, but this is not a rumor. This was serious.
It's a big name. You don't think there was other teams that were interested in looking at Tom Brady throughout the league? again, it's a guy who is proven to be a winner.
But this
that
is the
can
team
lead
right now
teams to a Super Bowl and win them.
This is a team right now that is already built to win.
All right, if you're
Tampa Bay's not built to win.
You add a little diamond on top of everything, and again, this is a team that had a chance to win the Super Bowl, but kind of at least let it slip out of their fingers to Kansas City. All right, Tom Brady could have been that possible added piece to take him to that next level to get that sixth title.
Like Peyton Manning did in Super Bowl 50. But again, where Brady signs with Tampa, Tampa's still a Mendoza line team. He's not going to put him over the top. Whereas, again, just throwing the 49ers
You don't
out
know that.
Just throwing the 49ers out for an example. 49ers are already built to win. It took a couple, 3 years to get all pieces in place. And they still have maybe one or two more pieces to take care of. But the bottom line is, if you signed a Tom Brady, he steps on the field, it's no different than playing in New England. He's got receivers. He's got running backs. He's got an offensive line. He's got a defense.
He's got a familiar tight end as well, too, which Tampa Bay announced that they did trade, or at least they have officially traded for Rob Gronkowski, again, the now WWE.
He's the champion, is he? The 24/7
He's
champion?
the 24/7 champion, so we'll see how that at least happens. Does that now open up to NFL players taking that belt from him? But other than that, though, again, he's coming out of retirement, so to speak. He had a one-year contract still with the Patriots, but they're going to absorb that, and it sounds like Rob Gronkowski is going to join Tom Brady down in Tampa, too.
And now that just...
And I guess that makes sense as well, too, for Rob, where Tampa's close by Orlando. WWE's Performance Center is right there. So, again, if he wants to pursue that career...
Does that give Tampa Bay yet another win to their column? Absolutely. So, again, where they're a Mendoza line team, now they're kind of creeping in towards, hey, they might be a wild card team right now. Again, Tom Brady is not going to win that South Division. You still have to beat New Orleans. I don't think that's going to happen. You could be competitive. We know Carolina's a long ways away, and we don't know about Atlanta. Atlanta's kind of the dark horse team. Don't know. They've got a lot of talent. They just need to put it together.
Atlanta doesn't feel like they're going to do squat this season. Again, for whatever reason, it's just not gelling right now, especially with Matt Ryan. But Atlanta, I think is the Atlanta is definitely, I would anticipate in the South, would be that dead last team. Carolina's going to probably be right behind there, and then it's probably going to be a good old dogfight between New Orleans and Tampa Bay. But I think the Saints pull it out without a doubt. I think they have a better talented team. Tom Brady, again, you can't sell short, but again, he's getting up there in age where that talent, that gas is slowly dwindling away from. Again, look what happened this past season, getting practically, I would say without a doubt, upset by the Baltimore Ravens early in the round.
He found himself on his wallet quite a few more times this year than he did in the past. And each year you go down a little bit more.
But again, if that was a factor for Tom Brady to leave the Patriots and go sign with Tampa Bay, where an offensive line was there so he could still be stable and safe, you don't think that Robert Kraft and also to Bill Belichick, those two minds there for the Patriots who are all about winning, who are all about Tom Brady protecting that guy, that commodity, you don't think they would address that for him and going, okay, we realize that, yes, you are kind of falling down. You're taking too many sacks this past season. All right, so let's reassure it here in this draft or in the offseason to build up some of that more beef to make sure that you are upright and you're avoiding injury. I highly doubt that was the reason why he moved on.
The thing is, we'll never really know the reason why Tom Brady left.
You will. He might in a memoir or something like that.
Down the road, but not now. And we're getting all the touchy-feely. It was nice playing there. Robert Kraft says, thank you, Tom Brady. And Bill Belichick and him had a real good relationship. Could it have been the monies that Tom Brady was commanding that they didn't feel?
The guy who's got unlimited amount of funds. Again, guy who has so many projects, so many sponsors, his own brand. He's got money.
I mean, but again, you just don't. I mean, this is a guy who played his entire career in New England. Could have retired as a Patriot. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's being signed by Tampa. And then reading the article here today about the 49ers, going after him. Once he declared free agency, I mean, boom, his phone was ringing off the hook.
Well, again, yeah, why wouldn't it? Especially with, again, what you saw with Peyton Manning, again, an established veteran who knows how to play the game, who knows how to win. Yeah, you're going to want to sign that talent. Same with Tom Brady. He's proven that he's one of the best. He knows how to win. He knows how to get you to the promised land without a doubt. I would not doubt every team probably put in some inquiry to say, hey, come on out to Detroit, come on out to Green Bay, come on out to San Francisco, come on out to wherever to come play for us to possibly see if we can add more wins or at least get to a Super Bowl again.
He put on voicemail when Cincinnati called, though. All right, we do need to take a timeout. We will come back, and we will have more after this. And we're back for just a very short time here on Wyoming Sports Talk today, talking about baseball. And again, this would probably hold true for basketball, Nick, and hockey. You know, and I don't even know even in the XFL case if there were season tickets that were sold. But fans right now, and again, they ask you to get season tickets.
Well, so far it's only
advance.
two fans that have done this, but it might extend to a larger reach. But so far, there's been a suit filed, and this is more so towards MLB, including at least it's not solely at MLB, but it's pretty much them. Ticketmaster, StubHub, again, a lot of those, at least online services that offer up tickets. Again, if you don't go direct through Colorado Rockies, the San Francisco Giants, whoever, where, again, if you don't buy it there at the window, again, you're ordering online through these services. Well, it sounds like the suit has been towards those encompassing, again, those entities and MLB in general of, hey, with no refunds being issued, again, I'm in that position right now where I bought my tickets to go see the Milwaukee Brewers and New York Mets for early in April when I was going to be out there in the Chicagoland area and going up to Milwaukee, where so far, at least with SeatGeek, I have not. I paid for those tickets. I still have those tickets, but the understanding was once it gets basically once MLB said, "Hey, here's a remake," then I get the reissue of those tickets for that game. So to speak,
you would get a rain check, yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, as of right now, all I'm sitting with is lost money and no tickets.
Your tickets that you bought in advance are rain check type tickets.
But what if the season does it? Like I said, it goes back to last week where
Then you
I
have
talked
to get
about
refunded.
where I talked. Well, and again, basically these fans are basically saying, "No, we're not waiting. We want it now." And again, rightfully,
and that's their choice, yeah.
Rightfully understanding of the economic situation where, hey, you want a little bit extra money, especially some of those season ticket holders where I paid all this money to get seats where I'm not getting any use out of it, but you're all are saying I'm going to get rain check for this. But what if the season doesn't even happen, or will I even be able to attend these games? Again, this is a reality we do have to face right now where, again, I go back to our conversation last week of will there, again, I think there will be live events happening, but will people be able to attend them? I just don't see it. I don't see it, or either we're going to have to distance it where you're not going to have a full Coors Field. You're not going to have a full Oracle Park in San Francisco. I think you're going to see where crowds are cut short. But the thing about this is that right now, it's a slow process. It's a new lawsuit, basically saying, "Hey, we want our money back, ticket holders. There's no guarantee that we're going to be able to use our season tickets, and we want our money now."
But also, too, Nick, we're also seeing across the country, and most of the country right now, including Wyoming, we're seeing protests that fans, or I shouldn't say fans, but people are wanting the restart. Again, I won't use the word normalcy. They want the restart. We need local businesses. We need to get people back to work. We need to get back to what we were doing and what should be done at this time of year. Matter of fact, I just talked to a friend of mine while we were in the break. And again, his business is a spring and summer business. And it's like, what the hell's going on? When's this going to happen? And I said, I'm hoping at the end of this month we should start the restart button.
All right, that's valid for the state of Wyoming.
But
and
again, Colorado, look at Colorado.
There's no guarantee.
What you know what? A lot of people are not too happy with the governor down there. And right now, you know what?
But again, it's those folks where, yes, you have the right to go protest, but again, it's out of your hands. It's up to the governors. It's up to those bodies there in those states. And again, throughout
the local mayor of Denver, Michael Hancock, says, "Hey, Governor Polis, listen to the people." You know, again, pretty soon there's going to be
it's up to him. Where again, even here in this state for Governor Gordon, hey, could you have opened up a little earlier than that mandated April 30th? Again, some folks are saying, yeah, you probably should have. But again, it sounds like he's holding out till that April 30th, and then we'll reassess. There is no guarantee that Wyoming opens up after April 30th, 2020.
Well, I would think right now.
So again, this is a situation where it is still uncertain. But right now, again, baseball should have been underway if we were in a different timeline. This did not exist.
We should be through a month through the season right now.
Those season ticket holders would be out at these games, and there's those monies that they were investing back into those franchises or paying towards Ticketmaster, whatever the hell it may be. Again, are not being used for anything.
Well, same
they're
thing
just
too
sitting.
with the NBA, and I'm surprised
and
that
NHL, MLS,
nobody's gone after Silvers again, and nobody's gone after Gary Bettman, basically saying, you owe me for 25 games of the season?
And that's why I'm saying this might be a start of something that could snowball to outside of MLB, but could go into NBA, could go into NHL. Again, you ran into a situation with NHL and NBA where the seasons were dwindling down, where when this hit, you had a few games remaining.
You got a quarter of the season left.
Yeah. Where, again, you basically, it wasn't the full season, but you still got a majority of your money at least to go see a game.
Think about it, going to a Warriors game, all right, at the new Chase Center. Seats there are minimum $100, and you still had about 10 dates left there. That's $1,000.
But also, too, those folks who were paying those season tickets, though, especially out in the Bay Area or in some of these major markets, you got to, even during these times right now, you probably had funds to kind of protect yourself, and you're not really too worried about, I missed a few, probably 6, 8, 9 home games remaining of the Warriors season.
I would think, too, that all organizations, and again, we're not reading this, and this is not probably news, but all organizations have sent you and myself a letter saying, here's what's going on, bear with us. If you want, and they're probably putting that in italics. If you want, then we probably will take care of you in that respect. Because again, I think all of these entities will know that, hey, we can't afford to lose fans, because that's going to be the tough part, getting the fans back again. This is like teams going on strike. Yeah. All right, we do need to get ready for our next guest. Let me get into our top of the hour here and remind everybody, and I'm just going to roll this down real quick here because our guest is standing by. We want to thank Taco John's of Cheyenne, being a part of Wyoming Sports Talk today. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. Platte Valley Bank ×2 on Vanda High, and again over at the corner of College and Pershing. Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Del Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards. Medicap Pharmacy, Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Lennox Auto Body, Main Repair Center over on Dunn Avenue. The Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. Give them a call, 634-6608. First Tier Bank, open Monday through Friday at 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Across the street, it's Mondello's Pizzeria, Paisan cuisine at its best. Joe Mondello beginning his 5th decade in business here in Cheyenne. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. And our scoreboard, which we are hoping is going to light up eventually, is brought to you by our good friends over at Pepsi of Cheyenne.
It isn't for quite some time, though.
Well, we're hoping the lights will at least they'll come on.
We'll hope. We can only hope.
We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back with our next guest, Cody Roark, right here on Wyoming Sports Talk today.
If you're looking for fun and adventure, Kia of Cheyenne is the place to start, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will help you find it. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will give you what you need to make things happen. This vehicle has plenty of power, all-season traction, safety features, technology, and comfort for any road you're on. The Kia Sorento offers plenty of standard features for the money, and we're all about saving you money. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
College. It's filled with classrooms, instructors, and exams. But beyond that, it's filled with curiosity, budding friendships, insightful conversations, and so many opportunities. There will be people like you, and you, and you. You'll work, you'll play, you'll struggle, and you'll succeed. But when you allow yourself to pursue your dreams, you'll learn what you're truly made of.
And welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today. We bring on our next guest. He is the host of Locked On Broncos podcast, and that is Cody Roark. Joins us once again on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Cody, thanks so much for joining us from Denver today.
Yeah, hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for having me back on. It's always fun to come on here and talk Broncos football with you guys.
All right, Larry Proetti along with Nick Proetti and Cody Roark. Cody, let's talk real quick. Yesterday, as we get ready for the upcoming draft, again, this is going to be the virtual draft of 2020. They did a dry run yesterday, and it looks like I guess one little hiccup with Cincinnati, you'd figure with them, since they're always the first pick and they're going to be on the clock and screwing things up. But anyway, no, I'm just saying it looks like everything went pretty smooth. And is this going to be, in your opinion, a quicker draft than we've seen in drafts past, where it was, on the ESPNs and the NFL networks of the world? Are we going to see a faster draft?
I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, we're going to see the draft go as scheduled in terms of how long it usually takes, because I think they're going to try to fill some of that time rather than having just a virtual screen and being able to see things virtually. They're going to have the commentators. They're going to have the analysts. And ESPN, the NFL Network, combining for this is actually, I think, going to be an interesting thing. Obviously, the video packages we'll see from players. But I think it's going to be really interesting. I think the NFL is trying to make it as entertaining as possible. I do see it going the usual length that we're usually accustomed to.
So looking at the upcoming NFL draft, where again it was supposed to be out in Las Vegas, as they were trying to introduce Las Vegas Raiders out there, and again trying to get it in front of those fans to say, hey, NFL football is back. But unfortunately it's now virtually. But again, with this virtual style though, again, how much interactivity, or at least how much fandom is this going to be able to bring into Las Vegas, or at least to the NFL with again, making it that folks, hey, can't be in attendance out there in Las Vegas, or how the NFL's kind of moved to make the draft a fan experience year in and year out?
Well, I think what every NFL team has done is they've incorporated a way to have like a fan-involved war room where they're going to have their local media talent covering the draft. For the Broncos perspective, you're going to see something on the Broncos Facebook from the entire draft, hosted by Alexis Perry, Matt Boyer. Cortland Sutton's going to be a guest host as a player host there. So they're finding ways to incorporate fans, and they're going to be doing some contests, and there's going to be some interactivity between all that. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if the NFL moves the NFL draft back to Vegas next year and just bumps every other city that they had planned down the list a little bit, because it was a big thing for the NFL to try to market Las Vegas. Now with sports betting legal, that's becoming a whole dynamic there. So now you have a Vegas team there. The NFL draft was going to be a huge hit. They didn't get that this year. I guarantee you they're going to move it back there next year.
What are we hearing out of the Broncos war room right now? We know that the Broncos are going to be having the 15th pick. We know the 49ers have been dangling pick number 13 because they'll pick 13, 31, and then they come back. I think it's 156, so they're basically devoid of picks in the second and third round. So they've been kind of dangling that carrot at everybody right now. But are the Broncos looking to move up, or are they comfortable in that 15 hole?
Well, in yesterday's pre-draft press conference with John Elway, he mentioned that they're entertaining the idea of maybe moving up, and they're also entertaining the idea of moving back. They really said it depends on how the board falls for them. I would be very shocked if they moved backwards in this year's NFL draft, or even if they stayed put at 15. The talk right now that's building in the NFL media is that the Broncos are inquiring about what it would take to move up, possibly all the way up to pick number 8. Now, with the Jacksonville Jaguars just releasing Marquise Lee, that opens them up for being in the market of a wide receiver as well. And that, to me, is a little scary. So the Broncos are going to monitor the chatter amongst NFL teams. And obviously, the Broncos have some good dealing relationships with the Jaguars, with the 49ers, and with some other teams that are ahead of them that could entice them to move up. More notably, they've been recent trade partners with the Cleveland Browns. They sent Andy Janovich there for a 7th-round pick. They could be maneuvering to maybe go back there. The rumors are that Cleveland wants an offensive tackle. They could get one of those at 15 if the Broncos really wanted to move up ahead of the Las Vegas Raiders, who also have their eyes on Henry Ruggs like the Broncos do.
That's just weird to say now. Las Vegas Raiders, that will be on the board eventually coming up in the NFL draft. But regarding the Denver Broncos, as we look at what they're going to do upcoming in day one, again, if they move up or if they stay pat at pick number 15, what, in your opinion, Cody, is the need right now, or what are they going to address with that first pick in this year's draft?
If I'm looking at the tea leaves that are on the trees in Dove Valley right now, it goes back to the end of the year press conference. The Broncos have talked about they want to improve their offense. Their offense was bottom ranked in the NFL on third down and in the red zone, and mid to bottom in the NFL in terms of points per game scored. They fired a first-year offensive coordinator, Rich Scagliarella, because they weren't willing to be patient enough. They want somebody that's going to come in and put points up on the board. They signed in Pat Shurmur. Then they brought in Mike Shula as the quarterback coach. All signs point to the Broncos going wide receiver in this year's NFL draft.
So the Broncos, in your opinion, going with the wide receiver again, do we see more attention on the offensive side of football? Again, there have been some significant losses on the defensive side, but is it one of those situations now where they need to rebuild or reload the offense for Denver?
I don't necessarily know if they have to reload. They were really happy with Tim Patrick, another 6'4" target, just about the same size as Cortland Sutton. And in 2019, Tim Patrick broke his hand week 1 against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. He came back. He had 16 catches in 2019. 14 of them were for a first down. So he's a big, sizable target. Deshaun Hamilton started finding a lot of connection with Drew Lock towards the end of the season and was putting up phenomenal numbers with Drew Lock as a slot option. You could see him having a big role. Cortland Sutton is also just coming into the number 1 wide receiver role, the alpha male of that wide receiver room. They need some more weapons. Noah Fant surely going to improve as a tight end and had a pretty good rookie season. You add Melvin Gordon to the mix offensively. I think that you go in the first round with an offensive weapon like a wide receiver that can give you that speed dynamic. You've got the size, but the Broncos lack speed right now on offense. If they go there, I almost believe that they're going to build a little bit more, add some depth defensively with rounds 2 through 3. And I think you can also see a combination of offense and defensive talent. I think their next biggest need that they have is at the cornerback position. I believe that's the area they need to add some more depth to. Bryce Callahan coming off of an injury and is expected to be ready for training camp, but the Broncos still don't have enough solid depth, in my opinion, there. They need another guy that they could either bring in via draft and mold long-term, or they can go linebacker. With Todd Davis coming back for just this last year, the team could still cut him, but they do need some help at linebacker opposite of Alexander Johnson, who they really were impressed with in 2019.
I'm glad you brought up his name of Drew Lock, where it looks like Denver's going to move into the direction of making him kind of that full-time starter this season. Again, obviously that is up to GM John Elway, and again, that brass out there in Denver to see if that's going to be the guy. But again, with the failed experiment of Joe Flacco and looking outside of the first round, we're again not anticipating that Denver Broncos go quarterback again, but in later rounds 2, 3, 4 for Denver at least this year for GM John Elway, could the Broncos look at picking up another quarterback in this draft?
In his pre-draft press conference yesterday, John Elway actually talked about that. He was asked if they're going to be looking at quarterback. Right now, they're very happy with Drew Lock. They were impressed with what he did last year, leading them to a 4-1 record down the stretch with him as a starter. They brought in Jeff Driscoll, who they thought had some valuable playing time last year for the Detroit Lions before he sustained an injury. They also have Brett Rippon behind him as the number 3 quarterback. So at this point in time, I don't think the Broncos go quarterback unless they bring in an undrafted guy just to get some training camp reps. But outside of that, they are going into 2020 with the full emphasis that Drew Lock is the guy for them, and he's got to earn it. John Elway mentioned yesterday as well that by no means has he made it yet. He's still got to go out there and prove and get better week to week for this Broncos football team.
With Drew Lock, as you mentioned, again, going 4-1 down that stretch for last season for the Broncos, where, again, the criticism, and again, I was one of those that criticized of saying, hey, it was against teams that, yeah, Denver should have beat, or at least he had a good shot of winning against. They're at the tail end, at least for that 4-1 record for Drew Lock. But in your opinion, Cody, of with Drew Lock, of what he can bring to this Denver Broncos franchise, is he the real deal? Can he be that future franchise quarterback for a long time there in the Mile High City?
I think that he can be, and I did a film review on Drew Lock's first start against the Chargers week 13, but one thing I noticed in my film study of him is he drastically improved from week to week. When it comes to footwork, when it comes to going through his reads, not staring down one particular receiver, he got better every single week, and that to me is the mark of what I was looking for. Probably the more consistent quarterback play that we've seen from a Broncos quarterback since Peyton Manning was in town, and I think right now he's just got to focus on continuing to get better week after week, kind of shut out the noise from the outside world. I like that the national media is kind of sleeping on Drew Lock here. Allow him to just take his reps, get better, go week 1 to week 2 to week 3, so on and so forth, but just get better and improve on your technique. He's a leader. The team, the players that I've spoken to, they love Drew Lock. They love the dynamic that he brings, and they will run through a wall for him. So I think that you just got to give him a chance to keep improving and see what he does in 2020. Hopefully, with the new offensive coordinator, you can stretch things out a little bit, and you could take some more shots.
You look at the Broncos quarterback situation, as you mentioned, with Driscoll and Rippon and Drew Lock. I mean, this is a very young crew, and we look at Lock technically going into his sophomore season. In your opinion, or do you possibly see maybe the Broncos looking for a veteran quarterback. Now, they've been burned over the last 3 years on veteran talents, but is that something they might be looking at too? A free agent or even just trading for a veteran QB to come into camp?
I don't think that's going to be the case right now. And really, with Jeff Driscoll entering year number 4 of his career, they view him almost as kind of that guy who's been a veteran, who has taken some chances. He played in Cincinnati against the Broncos back in 2018. He also played for Detroit against a very tough schedule. Took some shots and ultimately went down with an ankle injury. They like some of the things that Jeff Driscoll's displayed on film, but the hope is that Drew Lock is the guy, and barring some unforeseen accident or an injury, they're confident enough that Jeff Driscoll could come in and learn Pat Shurmur's scheme. They believe that he is a scheme fit and a proper guy that can also help Drew Lock adjust to the NFL life, because he's got 4 years into the NFL compared to Drew Lock, who's essentially getting to the, he's still, I consider him a rookie. I know he's entering year number 2. I still consider him a little bit of a rookie because 5 games wasn't a big enough sample size. But I don't think they're going to be looking at bringing in any other quarterbacks. I'd be very shocked if that were the case.
Looking at the first round, or at least for the Denver Broncos upcoming, where for you, Cody, again, just want to get your thoughts and opinions on this as a fan of the Denver Broncos and that franchise where, again, you talked about their needs and their wants. But for you as a fan of where you look at what's available in this upcoming draft and where the Broncos land or where they could move up to, what is that position player, whether it's offense, defense, that you're kind of drooling over that, hey, Denver, I want you to get that guy. This guy I want that can be an immediate impact player. Who is that person that you would want?
Well, look, I'd say I would be very, very happy with any of the top 3 wide receivers in this year's draft, whether it be Jerry Jeudy, who in my opinion is the best route runner. I think a very complete football player. I look at CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma. He's a big play, explosive type wide receiver, great catch radius, and makes some crazy catches. He'd be a fun fit in the Broncos offense. But I look at Henry Ruggs as my main guy because he does have that speed. He's a great route runner. His presence alone on a football field as a defensive coordinator, you've got to account to where he is at. And if you try to disguise a coverage against speed, we've seen it with the Broncos against Tyreek Hill. Even if you try to disguise your coverages, if you are half a yard or even a yard off kilter of where you're supposed to be when the ball is snapped, a guy with speed can make you pay for it. And I think with his big play, explosive athletic ability, you could do so much for him. I look at what Deebo Samuel has been able to do with the 49ers. I think Henry Ruggs could be that player and more for the Denver Broncos, and he's my guy that I've been pounding the table for.
Real quick here, how about an update on Von Miller? We were all just shocked to hear that he had contracted the coronavirus. The latest health update on Von?
Yeah, Von is doing well, according to reports out of his camp from his agent, Jody Brannion. And the thing with Von Miller was he contracted, he's got asthma, so he had a cough, and he went and he talked with the Broncos team doctors, and they tested him, and he tested positive for it. So he's undergoing quarantine right now. He's in good spirits, and according to his agent, all things are pointing in the right direction. It's a situation they're going to continue to monitor, but the Broncos really, just hoping that he's okay, and it looks like he's going to make a full recovery. But at this point, kind of just putting out a PSA there for many people to take whatever we got going on right now with social distancing, taking it serious, and Von Miller went through that whole media tour. But Von Miller is expected to make a 110% recovery and be okay going forward.
So with Harris leaving the Denver Broncos this past season, and the name that sticks out is Von Miller from Super Bowl 50. I was Purcell with him at that time too, Cody?
No, he wasn't.
No, he
so
wasn't.
Really, it's Von Miller. Todd Davis was there. He wasn't a starter.
Davis.
He was a role player, and Jeff Hireman was on injured reserve that year. So really, there's only 3 Broncos from that Super Bowl 50 team remaining.
But looking at the depth chart right now for the Denver Broncos, this seems like a pretty athletic bunch that heads into the 2020 season.
It's like pick your poison defensively. The offseason addition of Jarrell Casey, he can line up at defensive end. He can line up at defensive tackle. But then they get Bradley Chubb back from an ACL surgery. You get Shelby Harris back, which nobody thought was going to happen. You have solid depth at defensive end there, defensive tackle, and you've got your edge rushers. It's almost for offensive coordinators, who are you going to focus on trying to double team now? Because if you double team Vaughn, Jarrell Casey, Bradley Chubb, they're going to get sacks. So really it's about an offensive coordinator trying to figure out how can you neutralize this threat. But the Broncos have so many defensive options right now in terms of the defensive line and outside backer. Look, it's going to be scary to see it on paper in 2020.
Talking about the COVID-19 situation where, again, for other majority, at least major sports, NHL, NBA, again, put on hiatus. We'll see if they return for playoffs at a point in time. Again, MLB delayed to whenever they might get back into action. Folks, again, around the nation kind of looking for football to be that kind of rebuild, especially here in the state of Wyoming with Wyoming Cowboy football, where we're anticipating, hey, that will be the kind of time to kind of rebuild, renew, and just get back and find some normality. But the question for you, Cody, again, as we live day by day, and again, we just live in the moment to figure out what is the next move or how much longer we will be kind of quarantined or stayed at home. In your opinion, your thoughts, as we are 4 months away from kind of at least those preseason games in August, will there be a full NFL season, in your opinion? Will we see all games played out, or will it be an abbreviated NFL season, in your opinion?
I think it varies state by state, the NFL, and every sport's going to have to decide ultimately, especially at the NCAA level. But I do anticipate that the NFL season is going to start on schedule. I believe that we will have a training camp once the summer comes around. States are starting to loosen up a little bit. Colorado, they're just getting off of it. On April 26th, they go to a more of a stay safer at home order where there's some restrictions, but gradually things are going to start opening up. And we anticipate that training camp's going to happen as normal so fans can get out there. Preseason's supposed to start on time. So the team right now, the NFL, they're preparing. Every team is doing their offseason program. It's voluntary. They've issued $1,500 stipends to players that don't have weight equipment, and they could come in if they want to and work out and follow the regimen that their strength and conditioning coach has put together for their team. They've got access to their playbooks and online meetings. They're able to do that. It's just the unfortunate part about not getting that OTA aspect right now. But all signs right now are pointing that the NFL could start on time.
And also, too, want to get your opinion on something else coming out of the NFL that, again, caused not so much, or it caused a little controversy around where, again, a lot of people were opinionated, whether they were for it or against it. But, again, the new, at least, contract agreement between the players and or at least owners and just the NFL in general with the added, at least, teams in the playoff format, looking into expanding that regular season. Your thoughts on at least that new contract, that new playoff format, adding more teams into at least next year's playoffs?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think that there's a sigh of relief that the NFL and the NFLPA, they came to an agreement on terms of a new CBA, especially right before the coronavirus hit. A lot of guaranteed money could have been lost without that happening there. But with the playoff format, now having 3 wild card teams in the AFC and the NFC, opening things up is going to obviously lead to more TV revenue, more money for the NFL, and certainly they got to find a way to allocate that. One of the biggest arguments was that players' safety, not player safety is a big issue, but looking at players being taken care of after their NFL career is over. After about year 5, your insurance coverage is kicked off and they got to find it themselves. That's been a big focal point, is what is the NFL doing to take care of players after the game? I certainly think that the NFL is heading in the right direction. There's still a lot to be, determined with how it goes, but I think adding another playoff mix to the schedule, it's interesting. I have mixed feelings on it. I think from an entertainment standpoint, it's great, but from a competitive standpoint, a lot of players that I've talked to says it's like rewarding mediocrity if a 7-9 team makes it or an 8-8 team makes it, considering the fact that tiebreakers and everything else kind of fall into that line. You see those NFL teams in Week 17 really trying to push the envelope to winning to better position themselves for a playoff run. But certainly I think it's widely viewed differently in the NFL. Probably about a 50-50 split. Some players like it. A lot of players don't.
Final thought from me, Cody, and again, I want to thank you for joining us as we look ahead to the upcoming draft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Cincinnati, Washington, Detroit, New York Giants, Miami. Miami has 14 picks throughout the 2020 NFL draft. Cincinnati, do they hang on to that number 1 pick with Burrow? And again, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, does all 5 of those teams hang on to that first pick?
I think they do. I think they hang on to the order in which they go, and I think Cincinnati's going to take Burrow. I think Washington's going to take Chase Young, and I think at 3, Detroit's going to go Jeff Okudah, and I think you're going to see that order kind of fluctuate. New York, I think they're going to go offensive tackle, and at 5, I think Miami's going to go quarterback. I think that's really the order we're going to see overall from this year's NFL draft, and certainly, looking forward to seeing how it falls out. There could be trades, but I think with the virtual reality now of the NFL draft, I would be surprised if we, see a lot of trades happen. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of teams stay put in round 1.
Well, again, Cody, we appreciate you joining us today on Wyoming Sports Talk today, giving us insight on the upcoming NFL draft, especially with the Denver Broncos and what their season could look like upcoming here in 2020. I want to give you this opportunity, as we've done for a few others that have joined us, again, at least have that opportunity to kind of plug out. How can folks tune in, get some more Broncos coverage through you for, again, especially listen to your podcast of Locked On Broncos as well?
Yeah, Locked On Broncos. It happens every day, Monday through Friday, a daily podcast covering your favorite Denver Broncos team. Plus, on Twitter, at Cody Roark NFL, we post film reviews on the YouTube channel, Cody Roark NFL. If you guys want to get a little bit of a breakdown on Broncos coverage, player reviews, series, we go back and we do it all.
All right, Cody. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you before NFL training camps get underway in July. And yes, they will get underway in July. We'll talk to you then.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cody Roark joining us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We will take one last time out. We'll be right back. Couple things here before we wrap things up. Oh, by the way, ordered your new control board, so we'll be getting that here this week.
I like the online, at least, format, because, again,
Well,
it allows us,
if we
again,
could still do
especially
that.
you can't see the Skype, but, again, I like the Skype. It adds a little bit more flair.
Well, I'm sure our engineer could probably add that to the mix, right?
I could probably figure out something.
I've got enough channels on that board for you to get things all figured out. But, that way we can do the phone calls and hear them, again, like we used to do. So, anyway, that'll be taken care of. I was reading here, Derek Jeter of the Miami Marlins has opted to forego his $5 million salary this year.
No surprise.
Hey,
again, good for him. Probably the right thing to do.
I see a lot of people giving back. And then I read here Former XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck
Yeah.
has decided to sue Vince McMahon in federal court. I don't know, did we talk about that last week where Vince basically laid off a good we weren't.
Yeah, we talked about it because, again, we went into the whole thing of the XFL would have returned.
No, talk about the roster of WWE, though.
No, that happened at least a little bit afterwards.
Yeah, so, in addition to the XFL, he's also terminated. And I guess that would be the word, terminated.
Yeah, they were fired without a doubt. Where, again, it's for the XFL, again, it's out. Those who were laid off, again, got the full payment of their at least salaries or what it sounded like, but it sounds like for Commissioner Oliver Luck, he was not granted his full at least term salary.
He was just terminated, and he's filing a wrongful termination suit.
So we'll see what happens with that. So again, more bad news for Vince McMahon, but again, WWE as well too had to at least unload a few amount of roster spots to kind of alleviate some costs for WWE. So again, he right now it's kind of a bad situation right now if you're a McMahon. Trying to deal with what just happened with the XFL folding and now with the WWE of trying to keep that at least chugging along. So we'll see what happens. Their Money in the Bank pay-per-view is going to be held in their corporate offices in Connecticut, so we'll see how that goes at least underway. But
it's going to be very scaled down, too, because that roster really got trimmed on WWE. Anyway, going back to Luck, here's what his contract was. He was hired back in May 2018 for a deal reportedly worth approximately $20 million over its lifespan. Luck was not listed among creditors in the XFL's bankruptcy filings, but the lawsuit alleges breach of contract. So, again, if you figure he got paid $2 million in 2018, $2 million in this year or last year, he made some money off McMahon, but Vince McMahon, again, he's a billionaire
he's a billionaire that's probably losing a lot of money.
Well, again,
like everyone else probably.
If you look back at the pay-per-view where they made money off some of the WWE network, those that buy the WWE network on a monthly basis, and then there are still some
but how many of those now have probably cut back on that? Saying,
I understand that, but there are some that got
again,
pay-per-view.
You're losing on ticket sales right now. You're losing on a lot. Again, merchandising.
I understand that. And again, to put on that production for those 2 nights, not one but 2 nights, probably.
Well, they're still doing productions now. Again, they had to move to live programming still at the Performance Center. So again, they still have. There's still costs. It's not like they taped this out for months of episodes.
No, and again,
they had to. Again, the whole controversy was the state of Florida made them an essential business because they had to get back to live broadcast.
Well, and again, guys like John Cena don't appear for $1,000 a show. McMahon.
And that was some people's arguments of if you wanted to save money, whether it was to invest back into the XFL to pay some of those employees or keep some of those other roster talents that did get removed who, again, those roster talents also, too, weren't on TV a whole lot. So, again, it was kind of like writing was on the wall of, hey, let's just dump some of this money, so to speak, that we're paying to these guys that really aren't contributing to our program. But it is that argument as well too of Brock Lesnar of the world, the Goldberg of the world, who again they're worth millions. They got the couple million contracts where could you dump them as well too, where they could have survived being kind of furloughed, so to speak.
Yeah, again, you look at the empire of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and again being hit like every other person. Larry Perotti and his $1.50 a week salary. And Vince McMahon and his billions, he's more than a billionaire. Again, I'm assuming after it's all said and done that this guy is going to be hit probably, near $500 million after it's all said and done. I do read here, too, finally, as we wrap it up, the XFL is for sale, by the way, as part of the bankruptcy proceedings, according to a source, but league employees who were part of a conference call announcing layoffs said they did not expect the league to resurface in 2021. However, somebody can buy it.
There was a band of fans online, whether it was on Reddit or Twitter, that were saying, hey, with the new stimulus, let's all pair together and see if we can buy it up. But that did not go well. So,
again, when you're buying something, and I've seen this in radio stations that have gone bankrupt before, and I've sat in a couple of auctions. I guarantee you the opening bid is going to be 7 figures.
Yeah.
So again,
It's not like you're getting
your
a minimum.
$1,200 stimulus check wanting to buy you a bag of popcorn.
But it was just funny seeing fans trying to rally around of, hey, let's just make it. It was a league for the fans. Let's make it fan owned.
But I'm kind of curious to see if somebody might step forward, just for giggles.
There's got to be someone out
You know,
there.
you
don't think Vince McMahon's probably in talks with someone saying, hey, I had to get rid of it, but if you could buy it and then find kind of some back end way so he can get back into it, or at least have some sort of stake in it again, I would not doubt.
You know the first name that came to mind when I thought about this? Mark Cuban.
Nah.
He's an investor as well, and he's a sports investor as well. But not so much that he would do it.
The XFL that would also too compete. Granted, not every day, but again, you would have that Dallas Renegades franchise that would at a point in time compete with some monies away from the Mavericks. Could he possibly? But I wouldn't doubt there's talks underway right now for someone to rebuy it.
Yeah,
it was. For its first year, it garnered a lot of attention.
The XFL 2.0.
They had something.
But again, it was going to be a losing property this year. They would have probably made it to year number 2, and I don't think, and again, my opinion only, I don't think the numbers were going to be any better. Again,
you have no idea. And again,
I do have an idea. I do have an idea.
I think you're wrong.
This is my fourth go at spring football, and all have been failures. And teams that had better attendance back in the older days.
You're those fans that basically said, hey, it's doomed to fail already, so I don't care.
I gave it a second chance. I'm just saying. For some reason, fans just do not embrace spring football. I don't know why.
Then why do we have 30,000 in attendance for Seattle, for St. Louis? Sounded like those fans were probably embracing it.
Well, that's good.
And again, that was
some places
4 or
had
5
30
games of the season.
Some had 30,000, some had 18,000. Again,
that's going to happen.
But again, too, if I'm an owner of a business and I have a 60,000 seat stadium, I want the sucker full. I got to make money off this.
But there was no guarantee that with the XFL. And I think those stadiums that allowed the XFL to play in there had to realize that of, hey, it's not going to happen, but we'll take some sort of profit. Where, again, those stadiums during those times weren't even open.
I'm not arguing that.
Globe Life Park that is no longer in use by the Texas Rangers, because, again, they moved to the new park across the street.
Right.
Again, it wasn't making any revenue. It's just going to sit there.
I understand that. I understand that.
Houston Cougars, they're not playing anything there. Okay, we'll do it there.
But again, you go back to other entities that performed, whether it was the United States, the World Football League, XFL 1. You look at the places that they were in, and again, nice stadiums, good facilities, most of them, and again, spring football. Just people got bored once baseball kicks off, and again, you compete against 3 things. Hockey playoffs, or getting to the end of the hockey season, basketball playoffs, and let's be real, most people watch the NBA only during the playoffs. I mean,
you could say that both with the NHL too.
But again, they're always the weekends, hockey, NFL, and then you got Major League Baseball. That's when most people, families, go to baseball games on the weekend. So again, that's why I'm saying spring football, yes, is good. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just too hard to compete with the 3 other major sports. Again, the spring football
you can only assume, but we have no idea.
Look,
again, it's
here's the way it is: NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, National Hockey League. Okay, then you also got soccer going on too. You got the outdoor soccer leagues, but again, that's insignificant. But you have 4 major sports. Then you bring in spring football, and it's lower than the top 5 sports that I mentioned. And that's the hard part about it.
Again, from what they were drawing of fans tuning in.
You and I will also agree to disagree. So, I'm not going to go any further on it. You have your thoughts about it. But again, I've seen 4 of them now fail. And this has been the 4th failure. All right.
Maybe it's just you.
No. I think guys around my age group are all going to agree with me. It's fun. It's a fun product. But get bored with it after a while, and you move on to going back to what you usually do: baseball, golf, whatever. All right, we got to wrap things up here. We will be back with you again, I would assume
Thursday again.
We're working on Thursday.
But really, nothing has happened.
But
though,
if our engineer needs to be here on Thursday, we probably won't have a program.
Like I said, it's not a guarantee right now. Again, as we're not trying to repeat on guests, we're not trying to rehash old news. It's pretty much that's why we got Cody on. That's why we got DeWayne on, because, again, it's fresh news or, again, what's upcoming in the sports world. But, again, we're not, as much as, hey, what the Wyoming Cowboys have been doing of the Cowboy recaps or the Cowboy capsules, whatever it is, online. I mean, that's good and dandy, but do I really care about 2015 or 2016?
I watched the Giants and the Rockies last night. I watched 12 innings from 2018. So
go out and go get some exercise.
Well, that too, but I mean,
I'm just saying, though,
I got to get my baseball fix.
How much more can you take of reruns where, again, relive in the past where it's like, aren't you don't you want something fresh and new? I'm there.
Hey, they give you the option, Nick.
I know.
I'm
just saying. I get it, but also too, it's like my philosophy here with the show is we're not going to do that. There's enough of the reruns, the repeats that you're going to get bored to death with. We'll talk about.
But there are fans out there that do dig on that stuff, and that's fine. Let them listen to it. Let them get their jollies off it. I watched Ken Bird's baseball. I watched the 8th inning for the 5th time last night.
Because again, you don't do anything normally.
I usually do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I fall asleep in my chair, and that's good enough.
This quarantine has not changed your lifestyle one bit.
Yeah, I just nap longer now. All right, well, we got to wrap things up. We will be back with you on our next broadcast.
Again, stay tuned to the social media sides, because, again, that's where we're at right now. So, again, add Nick Wiles Sports on Twitter, Facebook.com/WilesSportsTalk, Facebook.com/1480 KRAE 1480 KRAE. So, again, that's where you'll stay tuned. The 1480 KRAE YouTube channel as well. If you haven't subscribed on there, again, we ask you to do that. It's completely free. It just helps us out. Like us on the Facebook pages, like and follow. Also, to follow me over on the Twitter side. So, again, all free, all helps us out. That's how you're going to get that news and information. Same with KRAE, same with KYOI. I've been posting as often as I can. Again, at least updates regarding local businesses here in the city of Cheyenne, if not the county, that are offering up services during these times of how you can help them out, whether it is, as of today, again, it may be Chick-fil-A as a corporation, but, again, it is owned by a local franchise. Again, it is
Ray and Cindy Mefford, they've been great friends of ours, been part of our sports for a long time, as well as our sister station, KYOI. So, again, can't thank them enough. And, again, they've all supplied us with some freebies. We have decided not to give anything away right now because they got better things to do than honor coupons at their places right now. And I have been busy during this time. I grew a beard. So, I'm getting that Santa Claus look right now.
Yeah, whatever. We'll end today's show as we try to every day. Again, it's been kind of off and on, but it is April 21st. We'll go back to the year 1996 where this record was set but is no longer in effect.
1996, what sport?
Well, it happens to be with something that's been in the news or recent, or at least a documentary that's been big.
Oh, that would be basketball, obviously, with Kenny Sailors.
No. 96?
Well, no, but you're talking about that's the documentary, the jump shot.
How about another documentary that's involving Michael Jordan?
Oh, okay. Anyway, go ahead.
How about the Chicago Bulls win an NBA record 72 games on this date, 96?
Which was eclipsed by the Warriors here, about 3 years ago?
Yeah.
72 games. Wow, that's 1996?
Yeah.
Wow, and it only took the Warriors, only 20 years to break that record. I don't think that 73 is going to get beat. That's really
obviously
tough.
It's not happening this year.
Hey, you think about the Warriors, too. You think about this season, it's a wash. And as bad as they were this year, with all the injuries and stuff, hey, you got Clay coming back. Tell you what, this team's going to be a lot better next year.
And we'll see if playoffs do get underway with NBA and NHL. I would assume so, but it's just when, if at all. Well, granted, it's kind of if or when now.
But do you put everybody in the playoffs now?
No, that'd be dumb. Why reward the Knicks? Why reward
the Warriors?
The Warriors, Phoenix Suns, all these terrible teams that get back in, especially with the Warriors where you're talking about, hey, Clay and Steph could be healthy at this point in time or get back into that. Well, granted, Steph was playing at the tail end, but why?
Why even have the playoffs? I mean, here we are. We're in late April. Playoffs again. The season's over by now. We're getting ready for the postseason. We're still looking at June before this gets underway. Don't forget training camps open in September.
Granted, you would need players to get back into somewhat shape, or at least get back with those teams. So you'd probably have to give them a couple weeks. But you'd probably look into this bleeding into probably August, possibly.
Okay, and again, you start training camps in September. I know, but we start training camps in September. October is when you tip off for the regular season. All right, we got to wrap things up. We really got to wrap it up. Thanks for that historical fact. For Nick Perotti, I'm Larry Perotti on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.